Connecting Central Texas. This is Good Morning Texas.
It's 6:30. Good morning. I'm Joey Horta. Thanks for waking up with us.
Yeah, and I'm Sharday LeRae. Listen, a very restful weekend on my end. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Tried to hide from the, humidity that was out there.
Sometimes you just can't escape it, though, Josh. It just sticks to you.
Yeah, and the last few days have been really humid here across Central Texas. I think today won't be an exception. You can see out there right now on the Clark Roofing Cam, we do have some of that humidity in place. Fog, not rather thick, but the humidity is. That's why you're seeing that haze, and that's why it's going to be a warm and humid one today. We'll be in the upper 60s as the bus picks up your kiddos. South winds at 10 miles per hour, dropping them off in the upper 80s. I can't rule out a stray thunderstorm this evening. South winds at around 15. So go ahead and grab the short sleeves, the shorts, and go ahead and pack an umbrella as well. You may end up needing it. You may not, but you will likely need it as we go through the rest of the week. I'll walk you through what could be a wet forecast in your 10-day coming up.
I went to the third person who moaned. I knew he was alive. I felt for a pulse. There was no pulse, so I did the first chest compression. He spit up blood, and then his eyes went fixed and dilated, and I knew I'd lost him.
The latest developments now from that mass shooting out of North Texas. Absolute terror erupting at an outlet mall over the weekend. A gunman there opening fire, killing 8 people. The community of Allen, just north of Dallas, coming together to remember the lives lost. And investigators now trying to determine a motive.
And right now, they believe the suspect, Mauricio Garcia, may have held white supremacist beliefs. Now, overnight, police saying 7 people are still in the hospital, including 3 in critical condition. The shooter, Garcia, was killed after an officer on a different call ran toward the gunfire.
To see these first responders act, visibly shaken and crying and sick and trying to catch their breath and trying to understand what was going on, that will always be in my mind.
Police say the gunman was wearing a patch associated with white supremacists. Now, the FBI is also looking into his writings and clothing for other potential links to extremist ideas. Investigators are also saying the suspect was discharged from the Army in 2008 due to, quote, mental health concerns. Now, this marks the 199th mass shooting here in the U.S. just this year, and gun reform advocates are planning to rally today at the state capitol. The FBI saying is asking anyone with information or video related to the shooting to contact the agency. In a statement, the Bureau says it's working with Texas DPS along with other state and federal agencies on this investigation.
Governor Greg Abbott says he wants to meet with the community to help the victims' families heal.
Our main priority right now is to help and support those families and the Allen community. But I got to tell you that there are questions that are lingering that the families want answers to. And that is, why did this happen? Why did the gunman do this? How did this happen? And I know that those families need an answer as quickly as possible.
President Joe Biden also responding with a proclamation honoring the victims. He's ordering all flags to be lowered to half staff until Thursday.
And new information overnight about a deadly crash near the U.S.-Mexico border. A vehicle plowed into a crowd of people at a bus stop near a shelter for migrants. And now an 8th victim has died. We're just learning that. And it just comes days before a U.S. border policy, which took effect during the pandemic, expires. Lindsay Watts has more.
This morning, candles and flowers marked the spot where an SUV hit and killed 8 people at a bus stop in Brownsville, Texas, as authorities investigate whether the crash was an accident or intentional.
They were going to the bus station, local bus station, so they could take the bus that was going to take them to their destination.
Some of the victims were migrants who had just left a shelter that helps the homeless and people who cross the border. A witness says the driver was yelling insults before accelerating towards the group.
This SUV just comes through, hits part of the curb and runs over everyone. A lot of our other guests that we have here at the shelter got to witness this traumatic incident.
The driver, identified by police as a Hispanic man, was taken to the hospital for treatment. Authorities are looking into whether alcohol played a factor, describing the man as very uncooperative, charging him with reckless driving.
Well, they're saying that the car lost control. Now, whether we know whether it was an accident or intentional, that is still under investigation.
This all comes as Title 42 expires Thursday. The public health order issued during the pandemic allowed Border Patrol to turn away migrants to prevent the spread of COVID. Now authorities are preparing for a spike in migrant crossing, upwards of 10,000 per day. The Biden administration says it's opened more facilities to process migrants, adding immigration officers and sending 1,500 troops to help boost the response effort.
It's going to take our plan a while to really take hold for people to understand that they can access lawful, safe, orderly pathways before they reach the border.
Under Title 42, most migrants were deported to Mexico with no legal consequences. But when that policy ends Thursday, they may face stiffer penalties if they cross the border illegally. Lindsay Watts, ABC News, Washington.
We're also following breaking news out of Dallas this morning, where a gunman is on the loose after a shooting at a light rail station. Now we have learned that one person is dead. According to police, 2 people suffered injuries as well. Now, one was treated at the scene, the other taken to the hospital. The victim's identity has not been released, but police say the shooting happened after a fight broke out, and no details have been released about the suspect. Well, the votes are in for the May 6th general election, and on the ballot in Harker Heights was a topic of an ongoing debate. Proposition A.
This measure decriminalizes small amounts of marijuana. 25 News reporter Nakia Simon live in the newsroom with the outcome. Nakia, good morning.
Good morning, Sade and Joey. The decision was determined by one single vote. The residents of Harker Heights voting against repealing Proposition A. The city's unofficial totals: 1,135 people voted no to repealing Prop A, while 1,134 people voted yes. According to city officials, a vote of no means supporting repealing the repeal of Chapter 133 marijuana enforcement and tossing it back to the city's books. The founder of Veterans for Medical Marijuana giving his take on this.
Based on everything the Harker Heights City Council has done in the past, they will simply ignore the will of the voters in Harker Heights, which I think is deplorable, an awful thing to just ignore the will of the voters.
The city of Harker Heights' stance on Prop A remains the same. In a statement, they referred to the Texas Local Government Code, which says city government officials may not adopt a policy under the entity will not fully enforce laws relating to drugs. They continue by saying for those with interest in changing the laws relating to marijuana, the Texas legislature is the appropriate and only forum to see those changes. The final official results of the May 6th elections will be official on May 16th. Reporting in Waco, Nakia Simon, 25 News.
All right, Nakia, thank you. And access to health care for women takes center stage this week. Just ahead from us, the latest debate on the birth control pill, what the FDA could soon decide on, impacting millions of women.
But first, bracing for a surge of migrants at the border. But is Texas ready? The steps being taken before Title 42 expires this week.